Hey everybody, this is Michael Estes. It's time to claim your seat, embrace the narrative that defines triumph. This is a Seat at the Table podcast where dreams are kindled and destinies are crafted. Welcome aboard. Welcome everybody. This is Michael Estes with a Seat at the Table podcast, and my guest today is Helen Malake. Welcome, Helen.
Thank you for having me.
So, Helen, I am so happy to have you today at this podcast, and tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well,
Yeah.
about myself. So I've been in Sacramento for about 5 years now, Sacramento County, Elk Grove specifically. Prior to that, I was about a year in Fremont, and prior to that, I was in Arizona for 7 years to going to college.
Got it.
And prior to that, I was back in the Bay Area, Union City, Fremont, Hayward area. And prior to that, that was about 9 years. At 9 years old, before 9 years old, I was in Sudan. So I'm an immigrant who migrated here from Africa to America, and it's been years since I've been here, and yeah.
So
I'm a real estate agent.
Okay, real estate. But you have a hashtag that's actually great, and that hashtag is what?
Helen the Realtor.
So if anyone wants to find you on social media,
Yep.
what should they look up at?
So on Instagram, Helen the Realtor. Facebook, you can look me up under Helen Malake or Helen Malake Estate,
Okay.
which is my LLC.
Okay. So you're pretty well versed then, huh? You got a lot going on, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Don't we all?
Yeah, we do. That's true. So I'm just going to start off with a few questions here, and I'll just let you go ahead and answer them in any way that you want to. So what was the moment you realized being an entrepreneur and real estate professional, how did you choose the path that you wanted to pursue, and how did your personal values and experiences influence your decision?
Okay, so when I was in college, fresh out of high school, I've always loved working because when I was in high school, I used to work as well. The way to get out of playing soccer was to get a job in my mind.
So you wasn't into sports?
No, I was not into sports. My dad had me playing soccer and all my siblings, trying to keep us busy. And I didn't like playing soccer. I didn't like playing any sports.
Okay.
So I was 16, 17, and when at that age, I tried to get a job because my sisters were getting a job. So I said, okay, maybe if I get a job, I can get out of playing soccer because they do.
Right.
They get to get out of playing soccer. So I decided I was going to apply at one of the most popular restaurants in Union City, California, when I was in high school at Krispy Kreme Donuts. I loved my job. For some reason, I get to get out of soccer. I get to get out of the house and have something else other than school.
So what was that job?
Krispy Kreme Donuts. It's a
Okay.
customer service, register, customer service. Yeah, I loved my job. I loved my teammates or everybody I worked with. Almost majority of them went to school with me, so we were all going to work together, and then we were all going to school together, so we got to hang out and see each other. We were the cool employees at the school because we were at Krispy Kreme Donuts, and if anybody is from the Bay Area, they would know that Krispy Kreme Donuts was one of the most popular places to go to in the whole Bay Area.
So
because
it was
only
like
one.
a hangout, right?
Definitely.
Okay.
The line would go so far for drive-through, and it would be packed at Friday night, Saturday night, really every single day.
And this was in Union City?
Union City over
Okay.
at
I know where that
Century
is.
25.
Yeah, I know where that is.
I mean, Century 25 in itself is a hangout place
Right.
already. If anybody's from Union City or even outside of Union City would know Century 25 is where it's at. And it was perfect because San Jose is here and Oakland is here. So
Right.
a lot
It's
of
right in the
people were
middle,
able,
right?
people commute
Right.
right in the middle. It's really awesome. And I got to work there. So I just totally loved my job. I didn't even care or think about what I was making or how much I was making.
You just didn't want to play soccer.
That and then some. I got so much more out of it. It's interesting
Right.
when you try to do something and something more comes out of it. But yeah, so I loved my job there. And then when I got out of high school, I got a job as a telemarketer at a mortgage brokerage, at a mortgage office called Hilltop Lending. So here I am, a fresh, new official adult, because when you get out of high school is when you become an adult in 2003. And I got a job that allowed me to make some pretty cool money. I mean, back then it was Craigslist, so that's how I found this job. And I just remember my hours were 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. because that's when people get off work. And as a telemarketer, that's when you need to catch
That's
people.
how you catch them.
Right,
Yeah.
because not so many people had cell phones. Everybody had house phones back
Right.
then. Feels like a long time ago when you talk like that. Because now nobody has
Nobody
house phone.
has house
Everybody,
phones.
yeah.
Right.
So I was a telemarketer and just listening to a few people that I used to work with. There was this loan agent leader at that office called, and he's still a friend of mine, Musa Mojadidi. He is the one that hired me on.
Say that name again.
Musa Mojadidi.
Oh, my goodness.
I hope I'm saying his last name right, by the way. Okay, so Musa, anyways. What I thought he was a Middle Eastern immigrant as well, and I was his fiance or wife at the time was Sabrina, so they were these two team that was running this office and was just killing it, and I'm like,
Oh, wow.
well, first of all, this is so much information that I'm gaining just by being here and listening to people, and then. If these people can do it, like, why can't we do it, But why can't I do it? Why can't, the people that I know do it,
Right.
Where I come from.
Right.
So it was a lot of information. It was a lot of knowledge, so much information. I felt like that at that moment I knew that information was so powerful because here I am looking into a mortgage loan, the biggest loan that you can get, how you can own something that is of a big value, real estate.
Right.
So I worked there as a telemarketer, and I remember Musa. He used to say anybody who was, because back then as a loan agent, anybody who used to be a loan agent in 2003 until 2008, 2009 when the market crashed, I don't know how it is now, but we used to get a list of people's name, address, phone number, and what
Right.
loan.
I remember that too. Yeah.
Right. What loan that they
What loan that
initially
they
got.
had.
Do we know where they're at right now? Did they pay it off or did they refinance? We don't really know quite sure. But the title company back then, was it the title company? They used to send us a list. We used to have books and books of clients.
Yeah. And you could tell exactly where they were at in their mortgage, everything.
And we used to call and say,
Right.
I'm calling. You can see what bank they're from. I'm calling on behalf of Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Fremont Bank. You remember that. And you say, I can see that you got this loan at this time for this interest rate, and this is what you put down. How's the house? What do you owe now? Where are you at? Well, if you refinance, the telemarketing pitch we used to give. I had a whole skit, and I used to get Social Security over the phone.
Wow.
That was that. If you can figure out, because we got their name, their address, their phone number, and what they purchased a home for.
It kind of made them feel like they knew you,
right? Because I was working to refinance.
Right.
I'm working to call these customers and bring them in to refinance because at that time, the value of your home determined on what the appraiser put on there. It was extremely easy to refinance. So over the phone, if you can get their Social Security number so you can run their credit, if you can get what they currently own on there and look and hand that off to Musa or the other loan agents, and they can pull some comparables and see what the house can possibly value, and all these crazy loans were available for you to take advantage of at the time. Banks were handing out all different type of loans. I don't know if you remember the NEGAM 1% loan
interest
program.
only, pick a pay, all those loans.
All of those all of these loan program allowed homeowners to pull out, equity out of their home to go and do something else. I don't know if they were even buying other homes and reinvesting. I think they were just enjoying life with that money. Living life at that time.
Life-in, huh?
Yes, they were life-in with that money.
Yeah.
At least that's what I can remember. I remember going to a bunch of appointments where here I am, this new adult,
Now, how old were you when you started this?
19, because that's when I graduated.
You was fresh out of high
about
school.
19 years old, fresh out of high school.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I started working there. I worked there from there all the way until 2008. I remember we had a loan processor in-house. She went on maternity leave, and I wanted to learn. She wasn't giving us the information, and we had to send off our file over to our corporate office, which is in Milpitas, and have them process our loan package because every day we were submitting loans.
Right.
So, what was her title? I don't know, but essentially what she did is put the package together, audit the
like
file.
a transaction coordinator.
Yeah, for a realtor, but for a loan officer, she's a loan processor.
Right, a processor.
That's what they call them.
Right.
They process the loan, which means they make sure that the loan is complete before they scanned everything
and send it to the underwriters?
And either fax it to the loan officer and his team. Account executive is what it was. I think loan officer, whatever. All these different titles. We don't have all those titles anymore as much. But we either would fax a complete package or the loan officer would hand that file over to the account executive when he comes in. For example, Fremont Investment was one of our top lenders back then. He used to come in, the representative for Fremont Investment used to come in 2 to 3 times a week to get these files and talk with us and tell us about different programs and talk over deals with us just to see, you know, what we have and if it's doable, can we submit this file? Because they were subprime, they were very quick, they got the loan done. There was a lot of things happening back then that does not get done now. Okay. Well,
how did you transition from there into real estate?
Well, I really loved being a telemarketer, and I was very intrigued by all the information. I was very motivated. Yeah, it was easy to get the information, you know, but I was more intrigued by the information that I was learning. Like, how amazing is it that I'm learning all this stuff? Nobody in my entire family knows anything about mortgage loan, and here I am learning it, you know? So I felt I was empowered by the information that I was gaining from just being there. And so when Musa would say, the next person that can get Social Security over the phone, when you get a Social Security, that means you got a complete loan application, a 1003. You got a full 1003 because you can pull everything else from there. So he'd say the next person that can get a Social Security, I'm going to give you $500 bonus now. So those are things that just motivated me, you know. For some reason, I felt like they saw something in me, and we're going to keep feeding her with different things. And
you were competitive then, huh?
I was always competitive.
Okay.
I've always been a competitive person.
So maybe your dad knew something about that when he was trying to get you to play soccer.
I don't know. Sports is just not for me. I like to go to the gym, but I don't want to compete with other people with sports. There's no money that comes with that.
Okay, so. I get it. I totally get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally get it.
So, anyways, I kept learning, and I wanted to learn. So I got a file. I got a deal. And I think I was working it with Musa. I don't remember who I was working with. Somebody in the team, if it wasn't Musa. Musa was the manager of the office. And I wanted to come along the process. Okay, what happens now that you've got a complete 1003, a loan application, what happens next? You go meet with the client, go look at the property and see what the home could possibly appraise, get them to sign. Everything back then there was no DocuSign. There was no virtual signing.
You did everything by hand, pretty much.
Sign it so that we can submit this file and we can get you some money to do whatever it is that you want to do. Live life, you know? So I was, I wanted to come along, and they brought me right along. Then Musa, in like 2 to 3 weeks, he made me from a part-time to a full-time.
Okay.
And I was still getting paid hourly. So eventually I closed my first deal, and I think my first deal, I don't remember, I got 2 deals closed at the same time. One of them was about a $30,000 commission.
Okay.
And the other one was a $15,000 commission, because we split that one. Yeah. So I remember getting 2 deals at the same time. One of them I ran myself. The other one kind of took longer, but I think that's the one that I ran with somebody else, and that's why I ended up with $15,000 instead of, we split it. So I just remember thinking about, wow, I'm 19 years old. I don't have any college education. I come from this economically poor family, and here I am able to make this type of money out of 1 month, 2 month span. This is the most money that I've ever seen for me.
Right.
So why don't I continue? And it's empowering to learn all this stuff. And it's an aspect of our family or my community that a lot of people don't know. Real estate, the knowledge and education of real estate. I get to learn the bank and how they issue loans and how you can get $1 million, $800,000 of money to go buy a house from a bank.
Right.
So, so I did that. I slowly started to learn how to process my own file because our processor had went over to maternity leave. So I'm not waiting on somebody. I want to know how to do this myself. I'm a pretty determined person. I'm willing to learn if it's going to help me progress. So I learned how to process my own files and would process some other people in the office. And I just remember everything was moving and grooving. It was really good. And then 2008, 2009, the economy started to crash a little bit.
Okay, so that leads me to the next question: leadership in crisis. Right. Something I want to talk about is just in that situation right there. How did you navigate that time? As far as the crisis was concerned, even the uncertainty of the crisis itself, and what lessons have you learned about resilience and adaptability?
Let's talk about resilience and adaptability. I am a very resilient person. I
Oh,
love
I
a
know that
challenge.
already. Yes, I
Yeah.
definitely know that.
I love to take a challenge. Anybody who doubts me, I'm willing to just go prove to you, show you that you are 100% wrong. I will prove to you, and that anybody can be wrong. You
Right.
don't know the features, so and that's adaptability, and that's having the benefit of the doubt for yourself. You have to bet on yourself. You have to believe in yourself and know that there's nobody that can tell you what you can and cannot do. Only you decide what you want to and don't want to do. Everything is up to you. For as long
Right.
as you have your health and you have the ability and you're able, there's nothing that you cannot do. So adapting and handling resilience is something that I adjust to very well.
Yeah, backing it up a little bit. I want to bring out the fact that you raised your son, right? You as a single parent, right? So and since we're talking about adaptability, how did that go along with all that you were doing?
So in 2005 is when I had my son. So I
Okay.
was a single mom, young mom, not knowing much about what I'm doing, but I knew that no matter what I do, as long as I give my son more than what I had, that's a win.
Oh, got it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's all it's about. It's about progress
Right.
and not being stuck. The progress, no matter what level of progress that you make, it's still a win. It's still progression. It's still growth. You have to celebrate every milestone.
Right.
Yeah. So having my son, he tagged along with me.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I told myself, as long as I give this kid better education, you know, as long as he knows what his culture, because his father is also from my country, from Eritrea, as long as he knows where he comes from, I show him the world, and I give him whatever he needs. As long as I work the best way I can, continue to take him to church, give him his faith, then I've done my job.
Okay. So what advice would you give to someone that's a single mother or single parent trying to come into this industry or maybe even another type of professional industry? How can they overcome some of those challenges?
The beautiful thing about being a parent at a young age is your kid gets to see you evolve and grow. He gets to see success through your life,
Right.
which is really cool. Whereas when you're older, your kid comes into this world where you're already established, but
Right.
which is beautiful too. There's beauty in that as well. But when you are a young parent and you have your kid at a young age and you're working hard and building and trying very hard, whenever you're putting in effort and hard work into something, it's always going to have good results, right? So if you are a parent as a person who's resilient, somebody who works hard, there's going to be progress, success that comes along
Got
with
it.
it.
Yes.
And through that success, your kid gets to see, oh, I remember when my mom only had this. Oh, I don't look at my mom now. She got this. She got, like your kid get to see you progress, evolve into
Right.
the person that you become. And to somebody who is trying to enter into entrepreneur or real estate or chasing your dream or whatever it is that you want to do, and you're a single mom or a single dad, because there's both.
Yeah, I'm a single dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
My dad was a
yeah,
single dad.
right.
He raised 7 of us under his household by himself and 8 of us overall by
Wow.
himself.
I
So,
applaud him. I applaud him
oh
because
yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had 3.
Yeah.
And That's tough.
Exactly. So, and I've seen him. He was the blueprint to me.
Right.
He's an entrepreneur. He's a single dad. You know, he showed me, because when he first came here, he didn't even know English. We all didn't. You know, we all didn't.
So you were all climbing up the hill, right?
All of us.
Yes.
All of us. But we have an advantage that he didn't. He was already a full adult with kids. Our advantage was we're young. We've got more time.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So my father has always just tried his best, you know, and that's what that's exactly what I plan to do with my son.
Right.
Was as long as I do my best and he sees more than what, than he saw when he was younger, he sees the growth. That's all that matters. So to a single mom or dad who is entering into the real estate, the working world, the entrepreneur world, or just in general trying to chase a dream, an idea that you believe in, just know that there is no loss. There is no 100% loss. There's always a gain to every decision that you make. There's benefits.
Right,
and one of
right.
those benefits of being a working mom or dad, single parent, is that your kids get to witness that with you.
So can you share something where things just didn't go as planned and how you were able to get through it or even overcome it?
I don't believe in things doesn't go as planned. I don't believe in that.
Okay.
Because I believe...
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah.
I believe that whatever is meant to be for you is what you're going to receive in life. So if you work on something and you don't get it, it's just not meant for you. There's something else even greater out there for you. So I don't dwell on things that doesn't work out the way that I had in my mind or intended or wanted to have happened.
Got it.
So it's hard to answer that because I believe that you got to take life for everything that it came with. You have to be okay with the things that you did get and the things that you didn't get, because that's how it was meant to play out.
Okay. So do you have mentors around you?
Yeah, my family and friends.
Okay.
I have my family and friends. They push me. They motivate me. My son, my dad, my family back home. I go back home and visit my family back home, and I go to Africa. I try to go to Africa once a year or once every 2 years at minimum. I mean, now I'm trying to expand a little bit more, but I get to see my family in different parts of the world. I get to see the world differently, so in different angles. I get to go to Dubai because that's where my brother lives. I get to go to Eritrea because that's where my family is. I get to see.
You were just in Sudan, huh?
I was not in Sudan. I was in Ethiopia and Kenya.
Oh, Kenya.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was there.
Okay.
Yeah, my cousins were there. I went to go see my family in Ethiopia and in Kenya. I went there to explore, kind of see the country. But it's what was your question?
Well, I was talking about the mentorship and the people around you. So give me an example how that has played a role in your life, even right now.
Mentorship and how it's played a role in my life.
Yeah.
Mentorship, I mean, it can be from anyone. People are always thinking that mentorship only has to come from those who are above them.
Right.
That's not true. You can also look,
parallel, right?
Parallel and see who else can be a mentor.
You can learn from a baby.
You're right. Yeah, but I love learning from my peers because we're going through it together.
Right.
I find myself having more conversation with those who are peers of mine, those who are on my level, than those who are above me. I love both conversations, but the ones that I'm interacting with, that I'm talking with regularly, are those who are, parallel to me.
Mm-hmm. Good.
Yeah. Good. So I consider my mentors. My dad is a big mentor of mine. He works a lot. He's a worker. He works very hard. Even at the age that he's in, he still works very hard. Wakes up, works out, goes to work, comes back. It's like he never gives up.
Right.
So,
That's a great example too, right there.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? Yeah,
That in itself, without even explaining, is a mentorship.
Right.
Don't ever give up.
Right. You don't even have to
Yeah.
talk. Just watch.
Yeah. The reason why you listen to all these people for mentorship and motivation and inspiration is so that you don't give up.
So tell me about a project that you're working on. I know you do different projects all the time, and share with me one of the projects that you really feel good about. Something that you just enjoy. Something that's happening right now.
One of the biggest projects that I'm working on right now is project managing with my developer a 6-unit apartment complex that's being built in Midtown.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I just remember this project came to me about almost 2 years ago. It hasn't been 2 years, but almost 2 years ago, about a year and a half. And my client had this land for some time and called me and said, "Hey, Helen, somebody referred me over to you. And I'd like to sell this land. I've had it for some time. I tried to build this. I've been rezoned. Neighbors sued me because this property is surrounded by historical properties.
Right.
And to have a 6-unit, 3-story apartment complex is just something not what the neighbors wanted." And so, I said, "Oh, this land looks like a really good opportunity. I mean, is there any way that we can make it work? Because, to successfully build and benefit what it is that you had intended to benefit out of this, And he said, "I've looked into this, talked to a bunch of contractors and got some bids. And, I've been doing this for a while. I know you don't know me, but I give up. Can you just sell this land?" I said, "Well, why don't you give me a week? Let me see if I can try to put something together." He said, "Okay," with a lot of hesitation, he said, "Okay, yeah, no problem. We can, go ahead, take a look at it. And within a week, if you can't find anything, then if you can just list this land, that would be great." So no problem. If we can't find anything, then yeah, we'll sell this land for you, which is what you intended to do when you called me. So I remember I worked with a contracting team that I got very close with when I worked on a flip.
Okay.
Which was a project for my dad. And I called them and asked them if they can go give me a bid. I trusted them because they had good quality. You can give them a project for the right time, the right money, and the right quality. Let's reverse that. This was a team that will work on a project and will give it to you for the right time, right money, and right quality, which was a very rare find when you're working with a contractor or anybody that you bring on as your team on any project that you work on. So I asked them to go take a look at it and if they can give us a bid for it. And they were able to give us a bid at about, I believe it was $600,000 less than what my developer had.
Wow.
I mean, he had a few other bids, but the lowest one that he had was $600,000 more than the bid that I offered him.
Mm-hmm.
He was blown away. He said, "There's no way that you have this." I said, "Yeah, I've got this for you. We can get. I believe in this, contracting team, and they're builders. They build great. They're good to go. I know. I know that they can get it done." And here we are, a year and a half later. We're almost done. We're about 3 weeks away from finalizing on this project. It took some time because this project came on during the pandemic, so there was a lot of delays there.
Right.
Trying to get trying to get a project manager with the city, trying to get all of this stuff together was what it took a lot of time to get the project up and going because, my developer called me quitting. So, but a year and a half in, and now we're about almost done to list this property up for rent first and then for sale 3 weeks later. So that has been the biggest and longest project that I have worked on in real estate so far, and I've been in real estate for 4 years. But it has taught me a lot, from dealing with the electrical company in which Sacramento was SMUD, to dealing with the city project manager, to dealing with the permit department, dealing with the inspector, with the builders, with my developer.
Everything, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
with my developer to, the off-site consultant, the engineer consultant to the architecture. It's and not just that, everybody comes with their personality and the things that they don't like about one another. So, and not just that, there's hiccups where you have to pull everybody back. It's constant managing a project, but also managing people and keeping people to keep working with each other, reminding them that we are a team. And the only way that we can succeed is if this project succeeds. So I'm bringing everybody back to the project. And, it's been a project that I've really enjoyed working on because I feel like it touched all aspects.
Right. So you had to hone in on your project management skills on this one, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Which I love. I love.
Yeah, that's good.
I went to college. I studied business. I felt like some of the stuff that I got to study when I was in college, I've been able to apply with this project. Whereas a transaction, which I love, I get to see a client become a homeowner. I get to see a client invest in yet another property. But those are short term. Those are, let's take your idea. Now that we're ready to shop, a month or two, maybe 3 months later, you're in your home. That's awesome. Or sometimes we have those clients who come out, they're a year out from being a homeowner, but you meet with them every once in a while to make sure they're on track to doing the things that they need to do. This, on the other hand, you're working with, I'm not just high level. I'm getting to the point where I'm getting to understand what is wrong with this wood, what is wrong with this pole, all of those things, and really get in high level, yet also a pretty strong understanding on the level of their expertise from the different team players and contract and team engineers and developer, civil engineer, and all of them just being able to understand, seeing what they're seeing so that you can take this information and go back to the city or the inspector or the architecture or our advisors, and being able to pull everybody in to find solutions on an issue that may arise, which it did at one point and we had to jump on. It's exciting. I really enjoyed it.
So I guess your client is like just blown away by all the things that it took and the things that you've delivered, right?
Well, yeah, I alleviated a lot of his concerns because I took those concerns on to myself.
Right.
I took his investment has become my project.
Right.
And it's a project that I want to successfully see complete and everybody celebrate and be rewarded for it, including myself.
Right. So
for him to see how much I took charge, for him to see, till the day he'll say, whatever you say, Helen, this is your project. It's him believing in me. He trusts that I'm going to take on this concern or this decision, and he can trust that I will make a good decision on behalf of the whole team. So he is happy with my work. I'm happy with my work. Most importantly, of course, my clients have to be happy, but I have to be happy with my work as well.
Definitely.
Because this has taught me that there's nothing that I cannot do. There's nothing that I cannot learn, that I cannot make a decision on, whether if it's for my own investments or my clients' investments.
Okay. So looking ahead, what legacy do you want to leave in your lifetime, and what impact do you hope your work will have on society and even the world?
Wow. Okay. So, I come from a big family. I'm always going to start with my family.
Right.
I definitely want to leave a legacy from my son, from my dad. Well, my father left his legacy to me, but I'd like to. There's so much that I'm working on with the hope that I can set him up better. There's so much that I'm working on that I can set up my son better. There's so much that I'm working on that my siblings can see the success in me and everything that I've been working on flourish in
full circle too.
In full circle that we can all share, that we can all celebrate with. But not just that. There's a reason why I chose real estate. I really am passionate about helping people see the result, see that they can become investors too.
Right.
They can become a homeowner as well. They can live in their own property. They can take control of their life. They can build a retirement for themselves because they've invested in real estate. They don't have to work their whole life. If they take on this other job that they're, investing and managing those properties and maintaining those properties and taking on the challenge of becoming an investor, it comes with work. That you can very much take control of the future, control economically how you get to live. That's why I do what I do. So I have a huge community that I come with, but I don't want to just, I'm not just working for those communities. I want to touch more communities. I want to help more communities. I want to be able to help people understand the value in working hard for their future, and that there is good results that can come out of that.
Okay.
So I really want people to understand that there's nothing that they cannot do when it comes to real estate. It doesn't matter what you start off from. You know, I myself started off not knowing any English, and there's nothing that you can't learn that you can use that lesson, that learning, and applying it to yourself and prospering from that. You don't have to live in a poor or in this cycle paycheck to paycheck for the rest of your life.
Right.
That's important. You may be living that right now, but the future doesn't have to be that.
You can
take control.
Yeah, you can take control and change it.
We're in America where there's endless opportunity. I can decide right now that I want to be a brain surgeon and just go start working on that. If that's what I want the future to be, then I can work on that. You can decide, okay, I live paycheck to paycheck. I work at this job that doesn't allow me. But you can literally put a plan for yourself where you know your future doesn't have to be what it is right now. So that takes work. You have to be willing to put in that work, because it's not going to just come to you. You're going to have to put in the work. It's going to be a lot of hard work, but at least you know you're doing it because you can control what the future look like in terms of, to an extent, economically that is, to an extent where you can live the comfortable life that you want, where you can retire the way that you want. So I'm here to work with anybody that understands that vision or wants to understand that. And I'm here to work with somebody to help them understand that, to show them, I want to display that is possibly for anyone and everyone who decides that they want to do that.
Well, speaking of elaboration, I want to back up a little bit because I want to talk about the this new commission structure that we're dealing with in real estate right now. How do you feel about that? What do you think about that commission structure and how it's to talk about the changes that's coming ahead and things of that nature?
You were talking about the NAR lawsuits that's happening with brokerages and sellers.
Yes.
Changes doesn't have to be a bad thing. It could be a good thing.
Okay.
Change can be a good thing, and people have to learn to adapt. With change comes benefits as well. Change also comes with rewards, or...
You have to innovate.
Right.
Yeah.
If you're doing the same thing every single day, how fun is that going to be,
Right.
Sure, you can do that if you wanted to, but when you sign up for entrepreneur, it's because, signing up for entrepreneur means signing up for adapting.
Right. And you create.
And you have to be able to create, and that's the fun part.
Right.
You get to create. You get to come up with an idea and apply it. And you don't have to take somebody else's idea of how to do it. You can create your own idea.
Create your own path.
Entrepreneur.
Create your own path.
If we were in an industry as realtors where we're getting paid hourly or salary, then you have to take the creation of what your boss tells you to do. But as an entrepreneur, we don't. As real estate agents, we're entrepreneur. We're not working salary, getting paid salary, or working hourly. We are entrepreneurs. Right. We are in control of whatever idea that we want to come up with and being able to apply it the way that we want. So there's nothing wrong with what's going on right now. And in fact, I actually appreciate it. I embrace the change because a lot of buyers I get to meet a lot of buyers, homeowners or investors who are now investors, but they were, first-time buyers years ago. Mm-hmm. A lot of these buyers have found their real estate agents that represented them through different websites. Because a buyer agent doesn't get paid by the buyer, buyers are not really thinking about, well, why should I hire you? They're not asking these questions. Right. As a seller, when I am presenting when I'm in a listing appointment, I am being interviewed by the seller because I'm asking them to pay me X amount of dollar. In the past, on average, it's 5% that I'm asking the seller to pay me. I gave my proposal. Here is what we can sell your home for. you know, and based off of that, I'm proposing that you pay me 5%. That's on the lower end, 2.5 for me and 2.5 for the buyer's agent.
Yes.
So, of course, because I'm presenting what I'm expecting you to compensate me, you're going to think about that. Why should I hire you? What are you going to do that's going to be different than other agents? So a seller will question if the agent that they're working with is the right agent.
Right.
Buyers don't do that a lot of times in the past.
They didn't have to.
They find them from these different websites,
Right.
these major websites. They schedule a showing through these websites and they like the home and they ask them to write an offer. They have no idea who they're dealing with. They don't even know this agent prior. They don't ask them, why should you represent me? How will you represent me? What's different about you? What makes you unique? They just take, they're in a contract with an agent whom they don't know and they'll probably never see after the 29 days, 21 day, 30-day close of escrow.
So with the new commission structure,
relationship.
It's going to cause them to have to investigate that, right?
Well, with the new commission structure, as a buyer agent now, there's going to be a moment where I'm gonna have a conversation with you and say, hey, the seller may not pay me 2.5 anymore. It's not like that. Now it's up to his or her discretion. Now, if the seller doesn't give me my compensation, you need to be ready to pay me 2.5 in order for me to represent you, because somebody's got to pay me.
Right. No, because they're taking your expertise and knowledge.
It's property by property. Depending on each property, we may have a seller that says we're willing to pay you 2.5. As a buyer agent.
Right.
But now it's optional. Now you're going to see both. You're going to see a seller that says we're not giving your buyer agent any fees. So then you have to be willing to step in and say, I will pay for you. Or it might be partial and partial, which I just got a client in contract where I was able to negotiate 2% from the seller and then a 0.5% came from my buyer agent. My clients. So now everything is negotiable, whereas in the past it always was negotiable.
It was just
by the way, it was always negotiable. Mm-hmm. It was just standard.
Right.
That sellers pay for buyer's agent, they pay for both realtors, because the buyers are coming in with a lot of money, and sometimes they just don't have enough money to pay for it all. They're coming for the down payment, the closing costs, whatever repairs they need to do. So it's hard for a buyer to also take on another cost of the realtors. So sellers have always paid for both realtors, and it was fair. Mm-hmm. Now it's not like that. Okay. Now I have to tell them, hey, Mr. Buyer, if the property that you choose does not pay me 2.5, you need to be ready to step in, whether if it's a partial of that or the whole amount. One way or the other, I need to get paid for my time because I'm providing you a service. I'm a professional. This is my work. It's just like attorney. An attorney's not going to work for you for free.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So the reason why I'm embracing it, do I like it? Yeah, there's something that's not good about it. It may delay a buyer to buy a home. There may be some delays there. There might, you never know.
Yeah, but different does not mean not good.
Correct. So the good thing about this change is that now buyers have to take some time to think about, well, if I'm going to pay you 2.5% out of the whole purchase or 3% or whatever it is, what is it that you're going to do for me that I should pay 2.5 out of $500,000? That's a lot of money. I have to pay you out of my pocket. Yeah, you have to be prepared to pay me out of your pocket. Well, now the buyers are going to, ask, why should I hire you? Why should you be my agent? And I think that's a good thing. Okay. Because I'm seeing a lot of buyers, they've owned this home. There's a lot, there's a lot of things that goes, and not completed. There's a lot of things through a transaction that gets missed when you're working with an agent that did not present some things, or you didn't talk to them enough, or you didn't get to know them, and everything is moving too fast.
They didn't have to compete for your services.
They didn't have to compete because you found a property. They showed it to you. You wanted the house, and you didn't even think about who. You just thought it was paperwork. Right. That realtor that you work with didn't tell you anything about how you can do a roof inspection. You can do a foundational structural inspection. So that buyer doesn't know that you could have done a foundational inspection. You could have done, structural inspection, made sure that this roof is good. A lot of buyers bought properties without even doing inspection several years ago. And it's just, I know somebody personally that purchased a home several years ago before I was an agent that purchased a home without doing a foundational structural inspection. Well, about a couple years into their home, they had to move out of their home because the whole structural was not in good position, and they had to pay over $120,000 to move out of that home for almost 3 years.
In order to get everything set.
In order to get everything. In the meantime, while they're living somewhere else, they had to pay rent over there.
Wow. That's crazy.
So that's a hit that buyers, that buyers don't think about later on.
Right.
So if you have the right agent on your side, if you got the right team, that they can point, they can point you on the right direction. They can make you think about things. They care about you. They want to see you living in a home. They want to present all the information to you and share the information to help you understand so you can make the right choice for yourself. Because at the end of the day, it's still your decision.
Right. I'd just like to say thank you for coming on A Seat at the Table podcast. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to come. I think that there's a whole wealth of knowledge that you have. And I look forward to a future of doing this once again. Thank you so much, Helen. And to the audience, have a great day.
Thank you.